Yes, I felt that one. I was in here getting ready to freestyle and tear something up in the cypher back in the day. I don't know. Like I say, I'm from the era where we used to rap on the bus. Somebody started beating on the window, and then another cat started hitting the seats, and then it was like you had to flow. You can only get into those if you had like some real skill, but that was hip hop. Yo, shout out to everybody from 80s, from the 80s and 1990s, man. Yo, times was wild. Shout out to us. We just keep rocking. So we covered Tybo Rogers and some awful things going on that he was accused of, and also the Washington University trying to cover up his crimes. And for the most part, we'll never get to the bottom of anything because of federal privacy laws and how that's going to be a violation. Coach Kalen knows what happened. Also, Tybo knows what's happened. And the AD, he's refusing to talk as well. Going to go from one school on the West Coast to the gift that keeps giving in Michigan in Jim Harbaugh. Now, this was out of CBS Sports and Dennis Dodd. This was about Jim Harbaugh, how his lawyer was threatened by the NCAA because of his social media post and him trying to run interference. Now, if you don't know this has been covered on our channel because the media refuses to ask Jim Harbaugh any hard questions. Remember, there are still 2 open investigations on the Michigan Wolverines because of this man. He's only at the LA Chargers because he was forced to be there. He did not want to leave Michigan, but because of certain things put into his contract, there was nothing that Michigan could do once the findings came out from the NCAA. So this was the best thing for him. And we'll get into many more of those things when we come back from a quick 20 from an unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern at Ab Stupid. Drop it. Either I must be hungry or this food is starting to look really good. Taco Bell, Live Moss. Download the app, order online, or visit the good people at your local Taco Bell. Try the new Chicken Cantina menu at Taco Bell. A lot of good items there. Also, build your own cravings box for $8.99. Got a party going on. Got some people coming over this weekend to watch the NBA playoffs. Get the meal for $4 online now. $20.99. Get your 2 Crunch Wrap Supremes, 2 chicken quesadillas, 4 tacos, and 2 chips and nacho cheese sauce. Ooh. So many deals, so many items. Taco Bell, Live Moss. So we keep talking about Jim Harbaugh. And when I last left off, I was telling you that the NCAA threatened to suspend him last fall, and his attorney did not halt the start. Well, he did not stop accosting these people on social media. And the comments in the association going on with the investigations of Wolverines football. So again, we talked about this, the investigations into Jim Harbaugh, everything from sign stealing to recruitment violations going back to 2021. So to suggest it's solely based on social media is a stretch, but go ahead. The NCAA Committee on Infractions chair, Dave Roberts, wrote in October of 2023 that if Mars didn't halt his positions criticizing them in their investigation, the COI, the Committee on Infractions, will consider appropriate penalties, including immediate suspension of your client. Boo. Is that it? If you keep talking about us, we're just gonna suspend him immediately. Well, here's the thing. He was already suspended. He was suspended by the Big Ten and from the school itself. So last year, Sharon coached the entire year. The only games Jim Harbaugh coached was the final two games in the playoffs and then for the national championship. That's it. Sharon Moore coached the entire season. So that really wasn't much of a threat because he had able-bodied coaches in place. Again, you got to have some teeth in that. And we talked about that. Harbaugh was serving 2 suspensions, one from the Big Ten Conference and another by the NCAA. In the middle of those suspensions and current investigations, Harbaugh tried these cases in the court of public opinion, and you should never do that. Roberts cited the NCAA bylaws, section 1946, paragraph I, which gives the COI authority to sanction parties and or their representatives for behavior that inhibits the committee's ability to effectively manage the docket, ensure a professional and civil decorum, and all proceedings or otherwise efficiently solve infractions cases. So with the infractions and those clauses in the contracts of every coach in the NCAA, it just wasn't put on Harbaugh. They were trying to go ahead and slow this investigation down and stop it, and sometimes outright work an immunity deal for Jim Harbaugh, because the guy who was accused of stealing signs, he's no longer at Michigan. They had went ahead and fired him, but it wasn't about him. It was about the code and conduct of the coaching staff that held the coach accountable. And he was looking to get away from that. And Jim is just one of those guys where just be careful what you wish for. He is, I know he's an electric guy. He's somebody who gives the media the goosebumps and the willies and the furries, and they feel so warm inside. But there's a lot of baggage with Jim Harbaugh. There's a lot of baggage. And you, like I say, is the juice worth the squeeze? He can be obstinate. He can be difficult. That's anybody. But then again, he can be charming. He can be charismatic. He can kind of lead you down these avenues to where you do find yourself cheering for a guy and not giving things away. So right away, the thought comes to mind, if you didn't have anything to hide, then why are you trying to stop an investigation? Nobody on SportsCenter is going to ask these questions, or Fox Sports 1, whatever corrupt media is out there with any bought and paid for personality. If my client is innocent, I stand back and I let the case proceed because the ruling is in our favor. The last place I'm going to is Twitter or X or Instagram or Facebook or wherever. Also, what's the consequences if Jim's lawyer doesn't stop? Because only thing you're saying is that we're just going to suspend him immediately. So Mars did not respond to the NCAA and continued his critical post, but it seems Roberts took no further action. So again, you can't reach out to them and say, hey, look, you better stop or we're going to suspend your client, and then him say, okay, piss off, we're going to do it anyway. And then you say nothing. Oh my God. That's like a Conor McGregor moment in the UFC where some guy was going back and forth with Conor and he says, "You do nothing. You do nothing." That's pretty much what Jim Harbaugh's lawyers were doing. Man, you'll do nothing. Shut up and sit down. We're going to keep talking about you all. Absolutely folded like a cheap suit in a bad lawn chair from the Dollar General. You can't issue threats and then back down. You know, how feckless and useless are you? The investigation remains ongoing, of course. Harbaugh's level of complicity in the case was announced Tuesday after alleging and in addressing the allegations, he misled the NCAA investigators. Now, I know some of you are like, why is he cooperating now? Well, he's not there. Nothing can happen to him. He is coaching in the NFL now. So anything that they do find or any kind of cooperation he gives them, it's only going to jam Michigan up because he's away from there. So he can be as candid, he can be as honest and open as he wants to be. But while he was there, he was not doing this. And it's not fair for Coach Moore to be in I would say, it's dubious at best. Nobody knows what's going to happen in Michigan. So if you got anybody on here that's going to come here and say Michigan is going to be on this and they're going to be on that, no, they're not. No, they're not. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But if Harbaugh is now cooperating when 6 months ago he was not, and they were doing all these shenanigans, and even up until he had to take that Chargers job, they were trying to negotiate some sort of immunity where he can remain at Michigan because he did not want to leave, but he had no choice because Michigan's hands would have been tied once the investigation concluded. But the fact is that these are still open and ongoing investigations. So now he's cooperating. Harbaugh said he didn't lie to the NCAA. What else is he going to say? Somebody, hey man, did you lie to the NCAA? Nope. Okay, I believe you. Yeah, come on, man. If you believe that, then yeah, I got a swampland to sell you somewhere. I got a hotel in a swamp to sell you somewhere. Since Harbaugh has gone to the NFL and negotiated settlement was reached with Michigan, isn't expected to suffer major sanctions. So again, that's what I'm sitting here saying. For his cooperation, Michigan, whatever sanctions they get, they won't be major. And these ongoing investigations. And that's a good thing because I don't think that Coach Moore deserved to bear the brunt of some situations that he may not have been privy to. And you have to say this, that Harbaugh's lawyers may have negotiated that deal in favor of the university so they don't suffer. Saying, yeah, you know you're going to have to suffer something because of these violations. However, they won't be major. And a settlement, again, negotiated a settlement, and that was reached. So with the NCAA looking like they just wanted the money portion out of this to go ahead and suck out the money, Harbaugh didn't want the university to suffer for anything that had happened under his watch, leaving Coach Moore in a bad spot. And Michigan, they are going to get some sanctions out of this. They just don't know how severe. And we covered that on our program, how Jim didn't want to leave Michigan. I've said that ad nauseum, and how he was forced out to take the Charger job because of the way his contract is structured and the clauses in the code of ethics and fractions where they'd have to fire him. His lawyers were negotiating a deal of immunity. We talked about that. And if he could stay at Michigan after the investigations. So there you have it. His heart, his soul, his passion was college football. And he did not really care for the pros after he left San Francisco. However, he is back in LA and he's got some of his coaching staff with him. So we'll just see how this goes. We'll look for the second shoe to drop, so to say, on the Michigan Wolverines. However, well, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? Because it looks like he's going to get away from accepting responsibility. I know we teach all of these kids, hey, look, if you did something bad, you need to fess up to it. But we kind of change our tune when it's the coaches, or it's the coaches that we like. They never have to go ahead and face accountability because we are sold on their personality and who the media creates these people to be, not who they really are. So again, it's a mixed bag. And Jim Harbaugh is a guy with a lot of baggage. But again, how do you feel? This is Big Vern at App Stupid. We got one more story, but we still rocking.